Welcome to the NiNe Show. This is the land where there's constant chaos.
Welcome to the
NiNe Show, or the NiNe Show. The NiNe Show.
the NiNe Show.
Got myself
My shoulders are so wide I can't even fit in the screen.
Actually, sometimes I really feel like I'm dumber than myself.
Technically, it's because you suck.
Yep,
But
that
we
is true.
I don't know what to say.
I like how you're like hitting yourself on the head when you're trying to.
Yeah, I'm like, think.
I'm like, fuck, like we think the same.
Welcome to another show, guys. The land of chaos is here again. Welcome. So today we're going to be going over the sleep animal functions, and it's going to be a little different because all of us have sleep as a savior in our animal stack. Jono, Odom, myself, and Asees. So you're going to learn so much. You're going to be immersed with deep perspectives in this video. We have a couple of topics we're going to talk about, and I'm going to ask Asees, what is it like being a savior sleep type?
That's a really good question. And before I answer that, I would just quickly go over what sleep is. So sleep is one of the two energy animals. Its opposite being play. It's comprised of the introverted organizing and introverted deciding human needs and its accompanying letters. And I have it second with TI and SI. And the question was, what's it like being savior sleep, correct?
That's right.
I noticed that I am, it's not necessarily slower than people. It's just that the way that I decide to handle the information that comes to me is more with reflection and introspection than complete and unhindered
Oh, your
experimentation.
camera.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. It's like when someone's telling you something, you want to actually process everything they're saying so you fully understand it, right?
Right. And how I basically see it is that it's really easy, since I am savior NE, for me to build an understanding of what they're saying, but then I have to go back and make sure that I fill in that understanding and that with the correct details, and that I did that in the first place, so that the understanding is valid, and so that I can move forward and correctly fill in more information into the understanding and expand on that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
I'm just going to jump in and answer the question as well in a slightly different way. So I'm going to start it off telling you guys that I had a conversation with NEFI type, and they have sleep last. So I'm going to compare real quick. So she says she works on herself at the end of the day. So she'll like process herself, figure out how she can be better, work through her feelings and make things easier, like find ways to do that. But me being sleep first, we were kind of discussing that I do that really intensely right at the beginning of the day. I process things, go through my routine, and then throughout the day, I'll do the same thing like every hour, but like on a smaller scale, I guess, because, I'm awake now and I'm doing things like intermingling with my blast and play.
Yeah.
But, I process what I'm going to do. I try it, and then I reassess constantly. And then it gets lesser and lesser until the end of the day, where all I'm doing is reflecting and doing it again, and then preparing for the next day. So it's like I sleep while I'm awake, I sleep when I'm asleep, and I sleep while I'm awake hard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, being sleep first myself, I process things a little quickly, and also I always catch myself wanting to sit down, like anywhere I am.
Given you're an
Yeah.
IJ, are you like, given you're an IJ, are you always like thinking about like plans, things you have to do in the day, and like,
Yeah,
is that like what,
what's next?
right?
What's next?
Yeah.
Like that, you know,
What's the
all the
next
time.
thing?
And then when I'm doing something, sometimes I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm thinking about what's next after it, so I can get started right away.
Wow, that's so
interesting.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious. This may be another video, but I'm really curious on the difference between sleep in an EP and sleep in an IJ.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah,
just
we
quickly
figure
from my
that out.
perspective, like when I'm sleeping, like a lot of the time I'm like just trying to work things out, like patterns that I've obviously got in my head, or like some concepts that I've got in my mind. I'm constantly just trying to revise them and try to like just work things out rather than
Yeah.
thinking what's next, what's the next thing to do. That's like in contrast to what Leon was saying.
Yeah, like the biggest difference will be like between me and you, because you're consume sleep, I'm sleep consumed. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to know where the difference is, because I guess you're sleeping to understand what you've consumed, and I consume to inform the things I want to do, or like, you know, my organized patterns. You know?
Oh,
To
It's interesting.
further build upon it or something.
Yeah,
further
so
build your
one's more
systems.
calculated, and the other's a little bit more just because it's there. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
Like you say, like I just throw a magazine or a book in front of John. He's like, "Oh, what's this?" And then he'll like look at the cover, look at the back, and like flip through it real quick. And, like, yeah, but like Odom's like, "Oh,
Do I
that's
need
something
this?
new. Hold on a second. Let me see what I can do. I'll come back."
Yeah.
Yeah, good life.
That was really good, like, representation. You should do acting, man.
Yeah,
Man, I'd love to do
Anybody
acting.
got an acting job out there? Hit me up. You know.
Yo, we should do role play. You and Jono.
Oh,
Role
that's
play,
weird.
different
I'm just
types.
Acting
Yeah,
is totally like an FI thing, huh? Like it's just so anecdotal.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
I know Odom, he had something a little bit extra to add to that, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go, like, I'll be taking a different perspective. So sleep, what is it like being a sleep savior? In terms of like functioning, I see sleep versus play as like resilience. So sleep is like inner resilience, and I see play as like external resilience. So it's kind of like players managing your environment demands, because that's where you find resilience. You know, if everyone's happy,
What do you mean
I
by
have
resilience?
so resilience, kind of like being able to withstand negative situations or pressure, or where like your fortitude is to remain stable. So the
Nice.
savior sleep will find resilience from themselves, and they'll do things to build that resilience. And then the savior plays will find that resilience externally. So they'll respond to external demands. If everyone's happy, then everyone will be a good source for me when I have problems, kind of thing. So that's just how I see it. I don't know if that's true or not. That was just an idea.
Could you relate that to
I have.
confidence as well, like building confidence?
Yeah, you mean confidence like in
Like self-confidence in
terms
like
of,
your abilities and just, you know, your character and
yeah,
your personality.
right. It depends though, because for me, I'll have confidence just without any stimulation. But as soon as I have to do something in front of people, or like I have to do something in the external world, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure how it's going to be received. I'm not sure. Like the external environment isn't a place of comfort. So I'm like, this, you see it with EJs when they mess up, they'll happily like apologize, and like, you know, when celebrities fuck up and they're like savior DE, they feel like the tribe will receive them well. So like they can fuck up because they know they can bounce back.
They have no problem blasting either.
Yeah, like you mess up and then you just apologize. But with the savior DI, it's like, am I gonna die? Like, what's gonna happen if I fuck up? So I don't know.
I'm thinking like it's something.
Yeah.
it's something like the DIs are confident in what they know, but they don't know how to say it. And then the DEs know how to say things, but they're not like certain on what to say because they don't have that like confidence from themselves what they're really saying.
Yeah. They just know how to attend to the people, not necessarily what's true to them, kind of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I
and Jono, I wanted to directly ask you, how is it being Save Your Sleep for yourself? I know you said some interesting information before, but digging a little deeper.
So one point was, you know, trying to further work things out in my head, or if I've like had an idea or something, just trying to work out how that can play out. One example though is more like around people. Like I like to understand people and learn them, right? Their behaviors, their attitudes, just everything they do. Like I kind of just really just take in all the little intricacies. And then what I find myself doing a lot is like just constantly thinking about the person, just trying to work out, like collecting all these like different points about them, all these like, you know, they're very, they got some weird way of speaking, they've got some weird twitches or something, or they have a bit of an attitude or something. I just try to take all those and I try to just like work out, you know, what's actually going on with this person. Like, you know, what happened in their past to kind of build them out to this person, you know, what's happened, what's going on to like make them manifest into like who they are today. I'm constantly thinking about that in people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really so cool. Interesting because the we both have FI. That's the shirt. But like so
this is an FI shirt as well, Batman.
Yeah. Everybody go buy our stuff. I was gonna say, like, because you said specifically what's happened in their past that made them feel this way. I'm like, oh, that's definitely SF. Like, and especially SI.
SI,
what exactly is the thing that happened in the past that has their emotions attached to it? And it's funny because like I kind of have something going on like that, but I'm more like focused on where would this take them? Where is this current feeling or value set going to take them in the future? Though I'm sleeping, I'm thinking about like that. So that's why I'm like, oh, I should probably say this to them. Otherwise they'll keep going down that road. I want to change the direction of the future for the better of them. And you're like trying to understand the past.
It's like polar opposites. Like you're going that way, I'm going this way.
I'm definitely, I relate to what Leon said.
Well, that totally transitions into the next question. So let's just get into that. Asees is going to talk about his kind of sleep now, and then we'll go in order of expanding on what me and Jono are talking about as well.
Sweet.
All right. So like TISI, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So I have TISI sleep, and I accidentally answered it earlier a little bit, but to be more specific, it's very similar to what Jono describes with the SI, because the way that we are basically storing the information is almost the same, but it's like what we do with that information and what decided what information was there in the first place is very different. So the way that I see my TI differing from his FI is that there's no and this does sound very stripped of context, but I mean this very literally. There's compared to him almost no emotion in how I did that. For me, it's just pure efficacy of recall, like, and it's like I do that through my NE as well, and so it really does go NE TI to SI, even though my SI is last and I'm missing blast. That's how I do it. My TI kind of picks up my SI and makes it work with my NE, and I have sort of figured out ways to have my NE make shortcuts for my SI.
Do you have an example, like the way you're describing, like the logic of like the okay?
Yeah. So in math, I noticed that, well, I remembered things better when they were written in color on the whiteboard compared to in pencil on my notebook paper.
Wow.
And so, well, that's just one thing, anecdotal, not necessarily related to this, but more specifically, we had 6 things written on the board. It was formulas, and so they were for the derivatives of trig ratios. You don't have to know what any of those words mean, but basically there are there's sine, cosine, and tangent, and then there are their inverses that have their respective names. And then so you
Sin,
could
cos, tan.
you could pair those 6 formulas into groups of 2, and then so basically I organized them using my NE, and then I just remembered what the differences were,
Oh
and
my
then that's how I
gosh.
did it.
Dude,
And
that's
then-
crazy.
And then
Dang.
I did the same thing with another thing, even more, I would say, than this example, where my teacher was giving us formulas, basically like shortcut formulas for finding derivatives. And so the way that she gave us this thing called the product rule, it was like, let's say part A of the formula plus part B, and then that's the formula. But then the quotient rule, which is very similar to the product rule, she gave it to us as, so if we're talking in terms of the product rule, part B minus part A over part A squared. And so I didn't like that because that's not right. And so basically it's like, why do I have to remember 2 different things when I could make it more similar and then just remember the difference between the plus and the minus sign, and then it being over the bottom part of the fraction squared.
So it's like you worked out a more efficient way to do maths in your head.
So
And what-
your
was-
NE is a horse, your TI is the driver, and your SI is getting dragged behind you.
Right.
like
man.
the carriage.
Yeah, I do
Dude.
have to find really efficient ways to SI, otherwise it's just not going to happen.
So my
Yeah.
sleep and your sleep are exactly opposite. So like I'm gonna like be processing my feelings and understanding them, and then looking to kind of connect it with other people and how they feel and why they feel that way. And like sometimes I'll notice that I'll get upset if somebody asks me to like do something without giving me enough time to schedule it, to like, and I have a mental schedule too. Like NI is very like mental, and if it doesn't fit into my box of priorities, then I'm not gonna go along with that. I'm gonna be trying to figure out, is this exactly gonna get me where I need to go or where I want to go? So for example, like say I'm living with my parents, or like I have a family or whatever, and someone asked me to wash the dishes, and it's 9:25 a.m., but I have to leave the house like at 9:30. Say, I'm going to go to work or something that's more important. And if that person gets upset that I don't go do the dishes first, then I'm going to get upset that they're upset because that was low priority to me, and they're having me sacrifice that for them. And it's self above tribe, but that will help me work through at least why I'm feeling that way and why they're feeling that way, and it'll kind of help me to control myself a little bit. It's just hard for me with the feminine feeling. It makes it a little bit more of a and then wait. I'm sorry.
Oh man, yeah, man. I guess for me as well, it's like a mix of what you said, Leon, and also a mix of what Asees said.
So Leon, your sleep, just to clarify, is NF, NIFI.
The exact opposite of
Manny,
Asees.
NITI.
NITI. So you have the NT sleep.
Yeah, NT sleep. Again, like what Leon said, it's very agenda based. It's very like, what am I trying to do? What do I care about? Like, what are my plans? What are my assumptions? And it's very kind of like the T comes in and makes it more of like a bit of a science experiment. So like whenever I have like an idea of how something's gonna go, like I'll assume it's gonna work out. And then when I test that out, when I go through the day and something doesn't line up, like I'll consume that information, like, oh shit, that didn't work. Then I'll have to like process why that didn't work. So it's very kind of like I'll have an agenda, doesn't work. I have to figure out what went wrong, then remodel my agenda. And it's just like this constant like updating, reframing. It's very like self-focused. Like, and I guess it's similar to, I don't know, it's like, it is very agenda focused. It's not like I'm just doing this for everything. It's just more like, what do I care about kind of thing. So, yeah, it's kind of, it's really detached as well. So what Asees said, where his isn't tied to how he feels or anything like that. Mine is pretty detached and like objective minded. I do feel like a tin man sometimes, like just with a painting of a human hovering me. I don't know. And
You're a robot.
yeah, I do feel like that sometimes. Like, oh shit, I have to human. But it's also like because Leon, yeah, it's just like a constant analysis running all day about what's going on, and just fitting it together. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, understanding
Do you think it's like processing, like analytics, like analyzing specific subjects and trying to like work out trends?
But
and
it's
stuff
very,
as well?
it's very subjective though. Like I can tell, I do analyze stuff, but it's very subjective. I'm trying to see it in a way that benefits me. It's not like, I think that's the NI as opposed to NE that just wants to see it in its totality, right? So,
so it's like a racist version of any.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Makes sense. Oh man. And Jono, how about your SF sleep? I mean, you were talking about it a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of said it was like processing the past for people and like trying to work out their emotions. Another example is like, I feel like also personally for me, I feel like I'm always like, I'm in a state of just constantly processing the past for myself as well. So like, I'll go back to like interactions I've had with people or situations I've been in. And I'll just like reevaluate like what happened. I'll try to just rethink about, you know, the conversations that were had, the tone of voices that were had. And I'll try to like reevaluate, you know, was this person being genuine? Was this person like a bit upset? Trying to understand the emotions, but also in myself as well. Like I'll try to understand, how did I feel in that situation? And maybe is this the reason why, you know, I feel like shit today, or like if I feel so good today? Like I'm like processing the emotions I have and trying to figure out like what led up to this point. Like how did I get to this point?
That's so interesting. Because like obviously
you're
SI for that. But for me, since I use SE, I'm not going back to the facts. I take the facts like just all in the moment, and then what I process afterwards is like the abstract, like what it means. I'm trying
You've
to
taken the facts and you're building like an internal like system or framework in your mind, and that's the part you remember and that you like.
Yeah, exactly.
And a big difference between me and Jono is my sleep's double feminine, so it's very loose and very like imaginative.
That's true.
Like I literally go through every single scenario of what happened or like how it could have happened. So like if I say I got in an argument with my brother over a video game and like we got in a fight, I imagine every single thing that could have happened. Like say, you know, he could have done this, he could have done that, I could have done this. So if I'm ever in the situation next time in the future and I feel that way, I'm gonna do this.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's it's really interesting that you said that, because like I'm like you explained before with like the going back in the past with me, I would like trace back. So like, okay, if there was a fight, okay, what led him to this? Like, did he have some other emotions or something that came before?
But it was all factual for you, and it's double masculine. It has to be like more like this is exactly what happened.
It has to be accurate.
Exactly what happened, and I don't feel right about it.
Wow, that's so cool, man.
I'm learning as a blast. Who would have thought that you'd learn as you talk?
I know you guys never talk till you're on the show. So, Odom, let's just go real quick over. I know we talked sleep, sleep consume versus consume sleep, and now let's talk about sleep blast and sleep consume, just real quick.
Yeah. So
one moment. Now that we've all shared, really interesting question for you guys. Do you think what have you guys noticed on the differences between Jono and I's more DI-centric sleep versus yours, Odom's and Leon's more OI-centric sleep?
Good question.
OE versus OI?
No, because Jono and I have DI second and OI
Oh,
third,
right.
fourth.
Yeah.
And you have OI first and DI third.
Right,
so
right.
There's more of an emphasis relatively in the constituency of sleep.
Rather than DI.
Right, I get what you're saying.
I guess you can compare the weight of it, like, because you guys obviously have an agenda. It just maybe you have it in the back of your mind, but you're more prepared to like do something at random if you need to, I guess. Like me and Odom are constantly going to be pushing things away from us.
Sure.
You're going to see, oh, this isn't part of my plan, but let's see what happens so that I can process it later, because it's a chance to learn something.
Yeah, man.
You know, because it's a little bit looser, even though, you know, Jono has masculine sensory at the bottom and you have feminine sensory. Like, it's still very loose because it's at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree with everything Leon said. So, yeah,
Agree.
pretty much it. I think I remember Dave saying him compared to his ENFP friends, even though he hated the tribe, his ENFP friends had more tribe issues than him. I don't know if you guys have more tribe issues, but I find with me, it's like, even if I'm like, I just can't help FDE. Like, I find it really hard to like, it's weird. It's just, I find myself less with IP problems, even though I'm double activated on TI. And
I think that's different for all you three versus mine, because first you said feminine DE, I have masculine DE, so regardless of where it's at, it's still going to cause more friction than yours would. So, like, though I'm double activated on the tribe and I know how they work, it's just if I'm not cool with myself for any reason, I'm not cool with them either, because you know, I'm unstable.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
For you, Manny, would you say that it's about friction, or is it more about like being able to approach the tribe?
What you mean, like if I do have tribe issues, like where? Approaching the tribe, I don't know how to do that.
So you just avoid it, right? It's avoidance.
Yeah, I just avoid it.
Okay.
Just completely.
Whereas if it was a savior, like versus Leon's, it's more like
I'm gonna
what are you looking at?
real quick.
Yeah.
So that's one difference, I guess. What else is the sleep blast and sleep consume, like, differences there? Because I don't avoid tribe interaction. Like, I want to find a way to get in there, but that's why I'm sleep processing. So I want to find my way into the conversation without it being totally disruptive. I want it to be like, I'm welcome here, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of make a way by allowing whoever I'm chatting with to invite me in some way.
I think the difference between sleep consume and sleep blast is because, like, sleep blast people, they really are trying to test out their OI organized or whatever it is. Like, for you, it'll be your NI concepts, and you'll double decide to do that. You'll do your FI in sleep, then you'll try blast it out to get the tribe perspectives. You're trying to refine whatever concepts you have in your head. The sleep consumer is just like, you're trying to do everything yourself, pretty much. You're like, you're doing the research and you're hypothesizing it and confirming it yourself. But the sleep blast is like actually testing it out in the world with people, and just like, so that's
wow. All right.
If I had to SI the shit out of it, I would describe consume sleep or sleep consume as sort of mastery of competence, and blast, sleep, sleep, blast is mastery of knowledge.
Yo, yes,
Dang.
yes, for
Interesting.
sure.
Yeah, that's a really good one, man. Good
I'm
analogy.
so obsessed with competence. Like,
You need to post that. Post that in the group chat.
Yeah.
Dude. Just watch all the likes.
I will. And what you just said,
Yeah.
Odom, I'm also very obsessed with that, and that's how I have my control freakouts. I don't care about control. I care about incompetent control, and that sets me off to no end.
yeah,
Wow.
that's fair enough.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, like I get super uncomfortable if I'm in a situation where I know I'm not super competent, and like most people will be fine because they're like, like I can get by. But like to me, I'm like I need to be absolutely like super competent for this task. Like I don't know.
I don't. I will get into it and become competent.
Right. Yeah. Man.
Versus where you probably will take a while to become competent, but you know, it's because you're processing so much.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, I know we're kind of running out of time. Let's talk about the pros of sleep and some advice that people can learn from it. I guess I'll just start. Or Asees, you got something to add to it?
So pros and cons of sleep, right?
Yeah. Let's do with pros.
Just go
first.
through both.
All right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I can do one pro and one con.
Do that.
Perfect.
One pro is that when I do act, I'm typically, since I've thought about, since I've reflected on the information that's been given to me, I'm more likely to be closer to correct the first time I do it. And then a con is maybe it took me so much time that I'm the last one to do it, and then everybody else is already fully right because they just did it 100 times before I did it once.
Yeah. Man. Yeah.
For sure.
That's nice.
I think a pro of sleep is it helps you think about things before you do them. So someone with saver sleep will make a decision, and you'll know that the decision was well thought out. Like if someone's trying to build a house, they're not going to start building the house without trying to figure out how much material that they have and how much they need. They'll have to have everything ready. So once it's ready, it's going to be a smoother sailing usually. So, you know, for instance, the opposite, if you're saver play, you're probably going to like start and then not be able to finish. And then when you're at the store, it might rain and it's going to ruin your project. You know what I'm saying? So it's like well thought out. And I'll just go straight into the con real quick. Sleep, having it as a savior can sadly, like, it'll cause hesitation, like kind of like what I was just doing right now. But it's like that small window of hesitation can lead to missed opportunities. And it sucks because the information that you receive and process, if you don't do something with it fast enough, then your information becomes obsolete because people start learning newer things about it that kind of push that other stuff to the back that might not be true anymore, you know? So yeah, I think of it like if you're in a fight and someone hits you, if you're trying to think so hard on how to beat them without trying any of it, then you're gonna get your butt kicked.
Yeah.
I see you, Leon. I see you.
Yeah. So like, just quick advice: if you're afraid to expend the energy for an opportunity, like, don't do it. Like, don't be afraid to expend the energy because it'll save you energy way later because you're gonna have to keep playing catch up if you don't start.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So me, pro and a con. Pro, I would say, is that like, so I do advocate for meditation, just like, you know, chilling out, disconnecting from technology and just, you know, processing your thoughts away from distractions. So I think for a sleep savior, like doing that is actually quite easy. And I think it's kind of its like ideal state is just being able to sit there in silence, not taking in any information, but just laying down and like internally processing like what's going on. And I feel like that it's like kind of like it's easier for someone that is a sleep savior because, you know, doing that, for at least for me, is like, this is like my Zen time, like my peak performance time is just like disconnected from everything, not like taking in information. I can process my day, and it helps like with relieving stress and just like making me feel like more at peace.
Yeah, I do wonder about meditation because, like, I don't know if it's maybe a difference between like Savior T or Savior F or like NI or SI or something. For me, it's hard, man. Like, I have so many constant running analyses in my head that, like, as soon as I just try and just quiet down, it doesn't really quiet down. It's like there's a lot of just talking and a lot of like, what about this? How does this fit? Ooh, would that make sense? Or maybe it wouldn't work. Da, 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 da. It just keeps going.
Maybe that's all you need to do is
Like,
just do that.
I'm
Just
like,
think
shit.
about what's going on in your brain.
Yeah. What does help though the most is if I do some kind of but like, let's say body involving type of meditation. You have like, you can do like really intense breathing exercises where like it really like gets you in your body.
Demonstrate.
And, just Google Wim Hof breathing. Like,
Oh, you don't want to demonstrate?
Consume that. No, it's like,
Yeah,
all right,
go and
you have to
consume
like
that.
you have to like hyperventilate for like 30 seconds. Hold your breath. Like, exhale it out, hold your breath, and then collapse and die pretty much.
Yeah.
And then come back to life. You feel like you're dying. And yeah, and stuff like what'd you call it? Tai Chi. I really like that. It's cool. Just stuff like
tight
Ooh,
cheese.
Tai Chi. I
Tight-
love that stuff.
Tight
Tai
cheese.
Chi.
How
works
tight is your
too.
cheese? All right, let me get a con real quick of sleep. So one thing that I will say is that sleeping too much can like make you freeze and like in fear. If you're
Yeah.
overthinking something, a
For
big task is coming up, you just think and think and think. You run to your saviors. You're gonna be stuck there like a deer in headlights, just like you're not gonna move. You're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna play.
Yeah, the anxiety is real. Just like, yeah, for sure.
And you feel useless because you're just not doing anything, and then you don't want to do anything even more.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like a vicious cycle.
It's like every time it goes around, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
It's like I can't move.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. You know what, guys? We are so sorry, but we're out of time. I know it was such a short video, but please like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. Check out our merch in the description. Hopefully it's up and ready by now. And we'll see y'all in the land of chaos next time.
Boom.
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 Mic drop.
Crash.
Oh, gang, 9.